So Newsweek has put forth a trade proposal, and this one is an interesting one. They're suggesting the Yankees send outfielder Spencer Jones to the Atlanta Braves for left-handed ace Chris Sale. Chris Sale he's on a 2-year, $38 million contract, but the option next year is a club option. So if the acquiring team is not happy or doesn't get the performance that they want, they don't really have to exercise the club option. But that leads me to ask the question is, well, is Spencer Jones a worthwhile cost for that, right? Could you possibly offer Everson Pereira and maybe even throw in Clark Schmidt in the trade? Now, where you're giving an outfielder with 6 years of control, because he hasn't started his clock yet either, and you're throwing in an arm to replace Chris Sale. Would that be a worthwhile venture to investigate? Because again, I do think Spencer Jones he has a remarkably high ceiling, and I'm not in favor of trading him. But with that said, if you're going to trade him, it's got to be for a high-end arm, and it's got to be in the National League. Okay, that way he's not punishing us on a regular basis from an American League team. So, give me your thoughts on this one. Chris Sale, I mean, he's old. He's like 36 years old, but he is right now. Is he 3-3? He's got a 1.5 WAR. He has 96 strikeouts and 73 innings pitched. He's essentially back to his Chris Sale ways, and with that tall, lanky lefty. And again, if you're essentially replacing a Clark Schmidt, and I like Clark Schmidt too, but if you're replacing him with somebody like Chris Sale, how much that's going to do to the top end of the rotation? The Yankees are top 10 right now in team ERA. I think they're 9th pitching. But if you bring in Chris Sale's 293 and replace Clark Schmidt's 404 with that, that's going to be a big jump in the starting rotation. And you'd have 3 front-end lefties. You'd have Max Fried, Chris Sale, and Carlos Rodon. Could you imagine if you exercise Chris Sale's option and Garrett Cole comes back next year and you add Luis Hill to that mix? That has all the makings of a historic rotation. So, just throwing this thought around. Let me know what your thoughts are. Would you trade Spencer Jones, or would you try to make another trade for him? And does an Everson Pereira, Clark Schmidt pairing to the Braves pique any interest in you? Let's talk about this one.